The senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy is live from the briefing room. Peter, what can we expect to hear this afternoon?
Well, this is something that this president wants to talk a lot about. And this is going to be the first briefing since the president ordered these documents declassified that show Hillary Clinton herself in 2016 may have personally been involved or at least personally blessed her team going forward with the Russia collusion narrative. So expect Caroline Leavitt to have something very strong to say about that off the top. Of course, we also have this issue of tariffs. We learned a few minutes ago that there's going to be a 90-day delay for negotiations with Mexico because apparently things are just so complicated with the border right now. And we know that China has a deadline until August 12th. Scott Besson said this morning that they're making progress, but it's going slowly. Everybody else, though, has until midnight. And so based on what President Trump has been putting out publicly and what we've been hearing, he has been working the phone a lot with his trade negotiator, Jameson Greer, and they are trying to figure this all out up until the very last minute. Probably a late night here in the West Wing. Also, we would expect, this is the first briefing since this whole thing with American Eagle jeans blew up. I believe that the White House is going to have something to say about this Sydney Sweeney ad campaign dust-up, even though President Trump has not been seen in jeans or any kind of denim in decades. Back to you.
Peter Doocy, live for us in the White House. In the briefing room. Peter.
Yeah.
U.S. customer is the greatest buyer in the world, and Donald Trump understands how to harness that customer and show that customer to everybody and say, if you want to play in our sandbox, you've been treating us badly for years, come on and play.
That, of course, is the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick on President Trump's America First economy. We could learn more about the president's looming deadline for these trade deals as we await that White House briefing. Charles Payne, host of Making Money on Fox Business. You know, Jamie Dimon just gave an interview on the tariffs. He's saying so far so good. The trade deals have been coming in. Stock market's been all-time highs. I mean, this is a White House that clearly feels like and has been showing that they feel like they are leading on these issues.
They are leading on these issues, and I don't think anyone can deny that, right? I think the key, though, is how do we continue to lead? And I think this is the most important thing here. For instance, the GDP report. The headline was phenomenal, 3%, but there's nuances to it. The real GDP number, more like 1.2%. Incrementally, sequentially, it's starting to slow a little bit. And that's, I think, the essential issue with respect to the Federal Reserve. Their policies are in place to tamp down on the economy. That's what they're trying to do. But they have to be very careful that they don't take this amazing lead that we have and tamp down, because there's a big portion, the majority of this economy, people are still living paycheck to paycheck.
It's interesting to talk about the headline there in the White House briefs as Trump trade deadline approaches, Charles. It seems to me like when it comes to tariffs that Trump has enough of the big players in the bank to be able to stand firm on the rest of them.
Absolutely. The EU is a huge, I mean, the unmitigated, even the most severe cases of TD, what is it, Trump derangement syndrome, even they snapped out of it for a minute. Golly, he got one, and then they went back to talk about something. Mexico, the pause today, that was big. Canada, they're negotiating. Maybe they go up on August 1st. And we always knew China would be last. But the EU was a huge stroke. South Korea last night. He's got a lot of these in the bank. What I think was, here's the most important thing, I think, and Sandra, it alludes to what it goes back to what you're saying with the stock market and the economy. When this started, when this whole thing started, Wall Street was saying, okay, maybe we end up at 10%. If Trump would have come out and said, we want to do 20% on Japan at the very beginning, Wall Street would have said, it will never work. The market's going to crash. Instead, you start crazy high with these numbers, the reciprocal numbers that blow everyone away, and you settle at numbers, though, that would have been unacceptable to those countries and Wall Street just a few months ago. Instead, everyone's applauding them.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
It's called Art of the Deal. I'll send you a copy.
There you go.
I think you have one. It's probably all rabbit ear. You haven't looked at it in a while.
Oh, so as far as the Federal Reserve is concerned, because they're looking at, and cover the Wall Street Journal today, economy returns to growth. To your point, there are enough economic stats out there that say things are shaping up and they are looking pretty good. President Trump, however, he took to Jerome Powell again in that tweet this morning. He did not mince words when he went after Powell for not lowering interest rates. So why not remove him? I mean, the president can put somebody else in that chair. Kevin Hassett joined us yesterday, and he is a top contender for that role. We asked him about it. Listen. So, do you want the job?
Well, first I want to say that it's not an apprentice-style contest. The president is going to go through an orderly search process led by Secretary Bessent, Kevin Warsh.
If you were the Federal Reserve Chair and you were in that decision-making position at 2 o'clock, what would you do?
If I were managing a meeting, I'd ask everybody to talk about, well, why are we now like the big outlier on earth in interest rates? What is it that makes you think that that's what we ought to do?
He compared our monetary policy to what's happened all over the world, and we're just not keeping up. So.
Right. There's a inflation surprise index around the world, and our inflation surprises have dropped. We have the lowest inflation surprises of any nation on the planet. And so inflation has been moving in the right direction. Again, what I'm more concerned about, particularly with aggregate data, you got to be very careful with aggregate data because it's misleading. Wealthy folks in this country are doing so extraordinarily well that they can mask, and they have been masking, middle-class people who are struggling. And again, if the Fed wants to be restrictive, they want to keep the vice grip on this economy. Those who are paying the price for it are already paying the price. Their credit card bills have already gone up. Their delinquencies have already gone up. And all you're doing is squeezing them even more. Home ownership, fading. It's a fading dream. You're squeezing that part of the economy more and more, and we're going to wait I hope we don't have to wait for rich people, to say ouch, because that may mean the rest of the nation, the other 70% of this country, is buried.
You've been on that for a long time now.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of fascinates me because the Axios headline this morning was Trump claims the economy for better or worse, goes on to say there are signs the economy is weakening. I mean, everybody is trying to knock down this economy or caveat the economy in some capacity. It gets harder and harder as the numbers improve.
Yeah, but again, the GDP number is made up of several components, right? And we know the import-export is really was skewed. Initially, businesses trying to get ahead of the tariffs, and then, we saw the biggest decline in imports in history over the last couple of months. So those things are skewed. You got to knock that noise out. I think you listen to the people out there, and most Americans will tell you, listen, things could be better, right? And so why do we need to make it worse before the Federal Reserve sees the light? They've got more PhDs than any agency in this country. They have to know. They have to understand the nuances of what's happening in this economy. And if you look at the stuff they're afraid of this morning, for instance, we had personal income and consumption. We had some, areas where people are buying things. Maybe you could see some clothing, for instance, maybe some inflation there. But look at autos. The sales were down dramatically. Yeah. And that means that, no, you can't willy-nilly pass on costs. Otherwise, GM wouldn't be losing $1 billion. Ford wouldn't be losing $1 billion.
All fair points, Charles. Are you a buy on the stock market at these levels, by the way? We're still near record highs.
I'm an individual stock buyer, and I think the fourth industrial revolution, if you're not buying these names, look at Meta today, look at Microsoft today, look at Roblox today, look at this market, look at the names that are going to shape our lives for the next decade. It's a shame. If you don't own them, you're making a huge mistake. There won't be another window like this for another 50 to 100 years.
Got it. Charles, good to see you.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Charles.
See you, man.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.